Welcome to my pitch for my identity piece this semester. First, we're going to start off with the anchor of the piece, kind of the original idea, and just the core foundation of what I want this piece to be about. Oh, camera shaking. Okay, so basically, perception, that is my anchor, specifically taking control of my own perception. I think perception is really prevalent in our society and important to talk about. Um, I also found this quote online that I thought was kind of interesting. I mean, it's not really a quote, but perception is not reality. It went along with the photo that I have here, which I think speaks to kind of, what perception is. Two people can look at one thing and see completely separate things. Um, and specifically, what I'm going to do with perception specifically is deal with the senses, specifically the audience's sight and hearing senses. I think, trying to be able to take control of what the audience can see and hear will obviously change the way that not only am I perceived, but how the audience themselves react to what I'm doing. So yeah, let me go back. So the next thing I want to talk about is the audience, which is quite important in my piece. Um, so yeah, the audience is going to be not only the most important theatrical tool that I have. Um, they're going to be kind of what drives the piece. The piece is not just about me; it's about the relationship I have with the audience and how they perceive me, and also how, again, bringing it back to the senses, like taking control of the senses, how I react as an artist to that kind of control and power. I also said here, I want the audience to also take a journey through this piece and figure out themselves a little bit and how they perceive people through this as well. Some examples of what I'm going to try to do throughout this piece is, collect answers from the audiences after uh, performances, and also take note of a difference in reactions. I'm going to elaborate on this a little further in the slideshow, but basically just taking note of what the audience is doing and how things change once I start controlling their senses, and how that affects the way that they perceive me and my work. Next thing, why? It's so important. Um, to first understand why, you also need to understand sensation versus perception. So, sensation obviously deals with the direct, sensory reaction to stimulus, sensory input, and perception deals with the interpretation of those senses, of those sensations, and you use your own experiences, thoughts, memories, ideas to create a perception. So perception is quite individualized, which is kind of ironic because as a society, we have created certain types of perceptions, not only for men, but for women as well. Specifically, myself as a woman, being perceived a certain way has always been attached to my identity. And I think this applies honestly to all women, and also aids to why we should be doing this, or I should be doing this piece. Um, I say we as the audience, but a woman has always must be perceived a certain way to be deemed successful. You must be a good mother, you must be a good wife, you must be a good student, whatever it may be. Um, these types of perceptions are sometimes placed on people in society. So I think breaking apart that dynamic and kind of messing around with what perception is really the goal of this piece, and why I think it is so important. Because again, perception is not reality, and how we perceive people isn't always necessarily the truth. And last but most certainly not least, my struggles, kind of where I am stuck at right now. Generally, the structure slash layout of this piece, I'm a little not quite sure where I want it to go yet. I think it's going to take a little trial and error. on my part in my rehearsals, as well as like the theatrical details, um, like who I am. I'm more like, like my costume and like props and lighting and sound and that kind of, uh, more technical aspects. I'm kind of a little lost in as well, but I do have a couple ideas to kind of fix that. Um, a possible structure I have here is like a TED Talk kind of thing. After each performance, I talk about the difference in reactions, what they mean, that kind of thing. And examples of those would be like there's like a fashion show, and I'd come out dressed slightly more feminine, see the audience's reaction, take notes, come dressed out more masculine at some point, see the difference in reactions. And same thing with like the monologue in a poem or slash poem. I haven't decided like which one yet, but kind of you can if you watch a monologue and you listen, what happens when you close your eyes and you have to just actively listen. So these are a couple of like structures that I have, but I generally am kind of stuck in the layout structure concept. Um, but yeah, other than that, that's my identity pitch piece. So I hope you want to see it. But yeah, that's it. Thank you for watching.